Okay, this question number 1 on the assignment, application of similar triangles. Here's my story problem. I'm going to switch over to something I can write on here. So here's my file I can write on a little bit nicer. Now, the first thing you should do is we need to throw in some variables and numbers and whatnot. So I notice it says the support is 8 feet tall, so that's 8 feet. And then that's really all they give me, other than that this is 20. Now, I could throw a variable in here. For example, what if I threw in an x right here? Now, I'm also going to throw in a number. Like, what if this were 5? Well, then this would be 15, right? And we're talking about from here to here. Okay, what if this were 10, obviously? Then this would be 10. That doesn't make sense, but just by the size. What if this is 2? This is 18, okay? Now, how am I getting those numbers? I'm just using basic subtraction, right? Well, what if I put in an x here? That means this distance has to be whatever x is, and I subtract it from 20, okay? Now, I'm going to rearrange. So from there to there is x. From there to there is 20 minus x. I'm going to rearrange these triangles so they line up and they're oriented the same way. So I've got this little triangle right here, and I'm going to go ahead and pull it off. I'm going to go ahead and rotate it. Okay, so I've decided to orient mine so the right hand angle, excuse me, the right angle is in the lower left-hand corner. So my short leg here is x, and my height here is 8, which I rotated 90 degrees. Okay, now I'm going to pull off the bigger triangle, and I'm going to go ahead and trace it. It looks like that, and I'll pull it over. And here's that same number. 8 goes here, and now here, the long leg is the 20 minus x. Okay, I can set up a proportion here. I have multiple ways I can do the proportions. I can do this as a fraction and make this as a fraction. I prefer to kind of match up corresponding sides. Short leg, short leg. I'm going to choose the smaller over the large. So I'm doing small over big. Okay, and then I'll match up these legs, boom and boom. And that goes over here, and that's 8 over 20 minus x. Okay, here's where I cross multiply. This times this equals that times that. I also recommend incorporating some parentheses here. So if I write this out, I get x, let's change it to black, x times 20 minus x equals 64. I'm going to do a little distributing here. I get 20x minus x squared equals 64. Now, just seeing this x squared, I know makes this problem a little bit more challenging, especially when I have a single x and an x squared. Okay, I'm probably going to have to do some factoring or the quadratic formula. Now, I'm going to go ahead and move both of these items over to the right. And the reason I'm going to the right is I really don't like this negative right here. So if I move this over, subtract 20x minus 20x, and this goes away. And at the same time, I'll go ahead and add x squared. I'll add x squared, and then this goes away. And so I get 0 equals. Now I'm going to write this in proper order. Okay, I do the highest power first. So we're going to go x squared. I do the single power next. And I got this positive 64. Now, this is a quadratic. The way we solve quadratics is by factoring or quadratic formula. I'm a bigger fan of factoring, especially when there's no number right here. Okay, so I'm doing the opposite of FOIL. So whatever goes in these first times, if I were to multiply my firsts right here, would be x times x. That's why I get the x squared. Whatever goes in these last spots has to produce positive 64, right here and right here. And since it has to be a positive, my signs have to be the same. Either both pluses or both minuses. And I notice since that's negative, they both have to be negative. Now I'm looking for some factors of 64. Okay, like 1 and 64, 2 and 32, and I think the one that I like is 4. 64 goes in, so let me look, and what I mean by goes in is factors. So 64 divided by 4 is 16. And I like 4 and 16 because I notice they kind of relate to the number 20. So 4 and 16. Okay, and I'm going to check my inner, so I don't waste my time checking that. I know that's going to produce x squared. I don't waste my time checking this. I know that's going to produce positive 64. But I do waste my time checking the outers and inners. That's negative 4x. That's negative 16x. They would produce negative 20, so it factors correctly. Now, at this point, it's almost like you're making two equations. When does 0 equal x minus 4, and when does 0 equal x minus 16? And these are both one-step equations. I'd add 4 to both sides. And here's my two answers. Okay, and if I look up here, the final answer says, find the distance of the support post from the front of the house. So that's x. So that's the smaller number, 4, because it says front of the house. Hopefully that helped.